Out in the shed again. I haven't been getting much done this week for some reason. There's just been a lot on. There's a lot happening outside the shed. I just haven't had the energy really. I've been continuing my cleanup. I have the electronic stuff listed on the local auction site, so as soon as that's gone I can move some of the bike stuff and start sorting through that a bit more nicely. And I've been thinking about the car. I'm going to do cycle type guards on it, not the long ones, just because I think I like that style better. Of course they're going to be easier to make, they're going to be lighter, and they're less likely to be flapping around and vibrating around. The other reason is just because it gets a bit fiddly around here, around the exhaust and things like this. I think it's going to be cleaner with this style of guard. And these are actually Riley guards, but these would have come off 8075, I guess. And they've been modified. So these would have been the long slopey guards, and you can see where they've been cut and welded back together quite roughly. But what they give me is the size of them. So these are, they could be original Brooklands guards. They might actually be, I'm not sure. But they give me the width and the height of the side and how the little turn up on the front is done and how the wide edge is done. I'm not going to bother with this kind of fold thing that they've done. I will just shape mine and weld them, and then metal finish it all out nicely. And I've been looking at the supports that hold the guard stays. So for the actual stays, I'm going to be using the same thick wall tubing that I'm going to use for the rear guards. So the rear guards, I've got these little sockets they all fit into. So the guards are technically removable. I don't think I'll ever remove them though, but they can be removed if they need to be. I'm going to use the same strong tube for the front stays, and this is where you start looking at period photos and pictures of restored cars and original cars for some degree of originality. They're all different. And you notice the different styles of guards. So there are these style of guards where it's more just the smaller cycle type guards. You get the long sloping ones like this, where they go back a long way. You get the fully fed in ones where it's this, but it's actually all fed into the body. So yeah, lots of different sort of styles. These are period pictures of period race cars. You can see this one's had a strengthening bar put across it. This one up here looks like it's got the diagonal supports, but yeah, I've got lots of material to look at, lots of pictures. There are a couple of ways that the front guards were mounted. And I think the way I'm going to do it based on an original car is there is a little plate here, rectangular plate, 2 bolts that go through. Now these are 3/8 bolts, and then the rear guard stay comes off that. So you can see how that kind of matches up these holes. It'll be somewhere close to that, on a slight angle because the chassis is on an angle there. The front ones vary, so I think the way I will do that is there is it's normally I guess it's a casting that goes here next to the headlamp stand, and it's basically a plate bolted to the chassis with a circular tube, and the guard stay has a sort of threaded end to it, and it goes into that, and there's a nut that holds it on the bottom. So that'll be down there. Should clear all the steering, I guess, and then that stay comes up and of course goes across to wherever that's attached, somewhere in the middle there. The other way I've seen it done is there are different ways of mounting the lamps. And I've seen integrated lamp and guard stay type things. And there's also another way, which is there's another casting that goes here, I think, and it bolts onto the corner. So I think it's got bolts in the top and the side, and it's a cast piece, and the guard stay comes up from that. So there's different ways of doing it. I've actually CAD modeled the rear one, so I know what to make. I've got some steel plate. I'll end up cutting this, and from this I will turn down the little sort of spigot that the tube will fit on. And I think what I'm going to do to make it removable is this will be machined down so that there's it'll be a sort of a short sticking out piece, and there'll be a groove machined into it, and on the stay there will be a nut welded to it, and you have a lock bolt. So this will be turned down, this will slide over it, and then there's a bolt that locks it down onto this. And because it's got that groove in it, it's not just friction holding it, it's mechanically locked in place. I think that's the way to do it. This is high tensile steel as well. So that'll be the guard stays. I think I'm just kind of procrastinating now, because once that's done and all the holes are in the chassis, the other thing I may need to do is look at a few smaller holes to do some of the fairing that goes on here. Again, this varies from car to car about how you do the bonnet. Some of them have a flat piece of aluminium that sort of bolts on here on top of this, filling in some of this, and then there's a little side panel that goes across, or a panel that goes across from here, or the bonnet just comes all the way down to here. Lots of different ways of doing it. This sort of exhaust was more common on the race cars, of course, but a lot of the originals, they had a sort of manifold and a single pipe came out down here. So this is different, and this means my bonnet's going to have to be different. So how it's going to work on this side will get a little bit interesting as well. And I think that's about it. I haven't ordered any of the indicator switches or the lamps or anything like that yet. There's actually a big swap meet on this weekend that I'm going to go up to. It's about half an hour up the road, and that's where I got some good things last year. I think that's where I got the rev counter from. So I'm going to wait and go to that first, because maybe I can find some proper period pieces. If I'd ordered something, I'm bound to. So because I haven't ordered anything, I probably won't, which means I'll be making an order at some point. And yeah, I think that's really all there is on the car at the moment. It's after work again, just doing a few little things. I removed the rear frame just to make it easier to get the petrol tank in and out. And I forgot before I took it all apart, I needed to add 2 more P-clips in here, but I won't do that now till it's back in the car, so I get the height of these correct. It's about there. These are my last 2 clips. I had to hunt around. I found one, and then I had to hunt through all my boxes and bits and pieces to try and find the second one. But that'll tidy up those fuel lines really nicely. That's kind of how the thing looks without the tail in place. I may end up gluing these down, or VHB tape or something like that. Although, to be honest, once the tank's sitting on top of them, they're not going to go anywhere. The good thing is you can get the tank in and out. You can just sort of move the straps out of the way. I've just realized that one's a little bit non-vertical, I think. I'll just tweak the bolts down the bottom there to get that a bit straighter. And I have been painting the fuel tank. You can see the overspray, I think, on the plastic there. It goes everywhere with that paint. Unfortunately, I've got a couple of runs in the top of the tank. So once this is a bit more dry, I need to sand those out and just touch up the paint. I need to leave it for a few days and then I can flip it over to paint the other end. I think the paint will still be... Oh no, it's not sticky. The recoat time on this stuff is something like 16 hours. Being a proper enamel paint, it takes probably a couple of weeks to really dry properly, to go properly solid like these. But once this is dry, it's very strong stuff and it's fuel proof, or fuel resistant at least. And that's all I've done really. I am off tomorrow. I'll probably finish this film tonight and upload it, and tomorrow I'm off to the local swap meet. It's about 20 minutes, no, more than 20 minutes up the road. Is it 20 minutes? I can't even remember. It's half an hour up the road to the next little town, and the local branch of the Vintage Car Club has their swap meet there, so I'll go up to that, see what I can find. Maybe I can find some lamps or some gauges or some switches or tools. There's all sorts of stuff there. I think I got a few decent little bits and pieces last year, so it's worth a trip up. And that's about it. Haven't really got a lot done this week, unfortunately.
Only locals know about it. The up and down wouldn't know about it. Just taking photos, or are you interested in the Morris?
I was interested in the paint. I'm building a vintage Riley.
Oh yeah.
1930 Riley.
Yeah.
And I'm just about to start building the body, and when I paint it, I want it to look old. So the problem is all the modern paints look too, they're like too shiny, they're too deep.
Yeah.
So I prefer this kind of finish where it's like, it's a bit flatter. You know, similar to this car. This one's kind of, it looks more original.
Yeah.
Whereas you look at, you can tell the ones that have been repainted.
Oh yeah.
So they don't look bad. It's just not the look I'm going for.
That one wants the paint touched up. That's mine. So.
Which one? This?
Yeah, the Series E.
I think it looks good how it is. It's like an honest condition car. So.
Well, it is. Yeah.
you can't not get them chipped and dinged and.
Just got an announcement here.
Yeah.
If Neil
It wants a
and
bit of a clean up on paint and that, but it goes
Wellington
well.
are in the area.
Yeah, I'm too lazy to look after the paint properly.
Yeah.
So I just want to drive it and wash it and that's it.
Her phone,
So,
it's
Yeah.
021
oh.
Because this and I took
1954.
got a guy who painted for me in the paper and tidy up a bit of things. Oh, I remember that door wasn't right. You're going to have to respin that door. There's a couple of funny little bits in here, and we have to do that. And I wouldn't be happy anyone knowing I did this if we didn't do this properly. And all of that.
We had one of those.
Okay, folks. Welcome to those who've come in a bit later. Our Horror Vintage Car Swap Meet 2024.
She's not there full time, no.
Years ago. Yep. Yeah, on my truck, but I know someone who's looking. I know someone who's. What do you got on those?
I was going to say 150. Yeah.
I'll find out for you.
Yep.
I'll ring you up. I've got your number here.
Yep. My phone's right here.
He's not here.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We take 100 for it or not?
It's a carbon back.
Yeah, I realise that because
Pretty good nut, considering they normally got. There's very, very few distributors out there.
Don't forget, folks, the club room's got their cafeteria going. If you need a coffee or tea, something to eat, beautiful cakes, sandwiches, make sure you get over there
appreciate it, man. Thank you.
and have a feed.
Thank you.
I believe there's a coffee cart somewhere on the ground.
Offer
If you can
close to
find them, you can
300
have a
for
real
that.
coffee.
It's oil company branded.
If you need food, you'll need to go to
That's
the
why
club
I
cafeteria.
wouldn't get around the price of it.
Filling up in that, you used to go to a petrol station and you fill the oil can to pouring into. Yeah, 300.
Two old men.
Can't even open the bloody.
You've had it open, I take it.
You got to open it to wind it.
So we're going to put it on the...
I had it. Remember, I had a Cadillac. I made a Cadillac, and I thought, I have it for that, but project didn't go. It's a little line thing there, and a little box. See it?
Where it came out of the garage.
And I'm pretty sure it was going to sell today because it's kind of well, no, it's a slide guitar. It's electric, works perfect, and it's OPG tuning. And you do that for $50. Built by a famous guitar builder somewhere in South Africa. Yeah, and then we've had another one or two on Tuesday. Then another 5 come through on Thursday.
Private viewings.
Yeah, for private viewing. 2 of them that came on Thursday. Yeah, I think the general public's getting
Yeah.
Started 4 or maybe 7 or 8 days ago. Make sure you take them off the telly.
Last year we just sold out reasonably quickly.
I know you're just setting up. I hope you have a good day. Thank you. Can I get a comment from you about our swap meet, whether it's good or bad?
No, it's always good.
Yeah, well, can you give us...
Oh, you carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Suspension's been I need a sandwich. Cup of tea. All right.
Yeah.
If they made Harley Davidsons in China, they'd have to become the Charlie Davidson, wouldn't they? That'd be a Charlie Davidson. Huh?
Ah, I've got heaps. Oh no, I'm just wondering. Go on, follow.
Yeah, look clean. Bloody bonnet space is very clean. Engine is very clean.
Yeah, I've got the second
About 4,500.
That's a lot of photos.
Yeah.
That's nice, isn't it?
Oh, it is. I don't like the.
It's an import or
Yeah. 348. Yeah. Most of the Americans have the longer body. Hello.
Hello, fancy seeing you here.
Yeah, I saw you before. I was trying to find you. But,
yeah, we had 6 weeks ago, just one day. I went out and
Some mushrooms.
Just got back from the swap meet. Didn't get too much this year. I did find a nice little Lesco 1 gallon petrol can. It's a nice small one, so I'm kind of hoping that'll fit in the tail of the Riley. I'm not sure, and the body's off at the moment, so I can't test it. I found I think it's an RF95 regulator cutout unit. That may be something I can use. I've got a couple of ammeters. This one has broken glass, but I think I'll have a piece of glass I can replace that with, and a little Smith's Speedo. These are used in Austin 7s, but they're also used in the Valicette, and I don't have one. I don't know if this one works or if it's the correct one, but at least that's something to go in the hole. I also picked up an old distributor for a couple of bucks, and this nice little oil gauge, 0 to 100 psi, vintage style. I may use that in the Riley, and it came on this. So this was it says $100, but I actually got it for 80. It's a Coventry stationary engine. I think possibly pre-World War II, World War II era. It's on a stand that somebody's made. Obviously, this will be the original. Somebody's welded extra bits on there. This is a temporary fuel tank setup, I guess, and the oil pressure gauge. But this is a little generator engine, I believe. It is missing, I believe, a magneto. I need to actually see if I can find a plate on this, and like a name plate, and figure out what engine it actually is. It's pretty much all there apart from the ignition, and I believe there should be a magneto that goes in here, but this one's been converted over to distributor, I believe, and that's what would have gone in there. That's why I picked up that old distributor, just to have something to play with. But other than that, I think it's pretty much all there. This will be the air filter. It's oil M160. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's got oil. Is there a dipstick? It's got oil in it. Looks clean. The guy I bought it off said he had seen it running, but I don't think he'd had it running himself. I believe it's something like 750cc, 850cc. It's almost like a little Austin 7 engine. It's got controls here. Guess that's the choke. Yep. Start. This one says air, this one says gas. It's all a bit stiff though, so that's the exhaust on the side. It's missing a fan belt, but the fan was rubbing. Oh, it's not now. That's interesting. Luckily, I'd gone to the swap meet in the Land Rover, not the MG, because I never would have been able to pick it up. And it took 3 of us, I think, to lift it up into the back of the Land Rover to discover that the door, top of the door opening is about here. Luckily, we could tilt it and get this underneath the door opening, and got it in. And then I had to strap it down because it's so tall. It was a bit unbalanced. I went around the first corner, it nearly tipped over and nearly smashed a window. So I had to stop and strap it down, at which point you realise there are not a lot of things that you can attach strap tos in the back of a Discovery One. In the end, I used the latches where the rear seats hook in. They're nice and strong, bolt straight to the body. And that was fine with a couple of straps around it. And it does have compression. Quite a bit of compression. So if I can sort out the exhaust, I'm assuming it would run. I will probably, I haven't been able to find any sort of maker's plate or a model plate or anything like that on it yet. There is a plate here on the radiator, so that is definitely Coventry. Like I say, I got it for $80 New Zealand, is about 40 quid, and I can't remember what it is US. I think it's almost 1-to-1 maybe US, so 80 bucks, but 40 quid for this. I thought it's well worth a punt, even if it doesn't go. It's an interesting thing to have in the garage. Of course, I've just been trying to make space in the garage, so, you know, filling it up with a stationary engine isn't really ideal, but yeah, that seems to be, is that the choke? I don't know what that one is. That seems to be some sort of control. Definite compression there. Old spark plugs, Lodge spark plugs. None of them are loose. So what I need to figure out is exactly what it is and exactly what needs to go down there. I think what he said is the distributor broke and the drive is stuck in there. You can see, I can see the end of the shaft actually. So it's probably going to need pulling apart, which is cool. So yeah, an interesting little thing. And like I say, that gauge would be actually quite nice in the Riley. It's a nice 0 to 100 gauge, vintage style. I can put any other oil gauge on this. So yeah, obviously I didn't need another project, but sometimes things like this are just too good to pass up. And there were other people there asking about it. I was there quite early, so another guy was asking about it and was trying to sort out if the guy could transport it or drop it off or things like that. And I sort of said to him, well, I could take it away today, you know, would you take 80 bucks? He's like, yep. So that's what we got. I think even the radiator looks good. I imagine that things like this probably haven't been used a lot, so I think with a careful strip down and rebuild, it'll be fine. Yeah, definitely less there this time at the swap meet. Oh, I did get one other thing. Where is it? Which was, I think, the guy said a gold coin, so I gave him $2 because that's all I had. A little Lucas panel switch, so I need that on the Riley for the high beams. But yeah, should be an interesting little project. So a bit of hunting around, I did find the maker's plate, Coventry Climax engine, ASM 139 and a serial number 19584. That was completely covered over with grease. It's quite mucky, this thing. It's definitely all there, apart from the ignition. Oil washer. It's probably going to cost me more for oil to put in it than I paid for it. And I believe this is probably the oil filter. This seems to be, yeah, it'll be part of the breather. This will be the fuel pump. Looks like it's all just driven off the distributor or the magneto drive. I need to see which way around that rotates, I guess. And nice little sump. It's going to need a fan belt. The radiator looks in pretty good condition. I'd say it's dry. Don't know if I can see. Yeah, I can see it turning, so it's going this way. Wait, I have to think. Yeah. I'm assuming you crank it the same as most other things, which is this way. So that would be cranking it, which means the flywheel goes that way. Yeah, and it's rotating that way. So I can't remember what this distributor is, but it seemed like the right sort of size thing. That's why I grabbed it. And I'm not sure. Let's see if we can see what this is. Might be, it's just a bit of degreaser. The guy I bought it off seemed to think anything like a 410 or any sort of period thing should work. Let's see. Yeah, so this is a DK4, which is like used in Austin 7s, things like that. So a little distributor like this would probably work fine on this. But it's and the shaft's pinned, so it'll be interesting to take that apart and see if the drive gear is there. Let's see what the story is with the shaft. The shaft on that. Little lawnmower style petrol tank. Maybe I can get something a little bit more correct. Yeah, interesting little thing.